with the memories of another sport altogether. Here where Don Bradman once flourished with bat against ball and established his incomparable legend, this alien sport erupts from the bosom of this great cricket ground with almost 100,000 prepared to back the Socceroos of Australia reach the World Cup finals in France. The other more established sports in this country have been elbowed for this precious moment, because apparently there's hardly a corner of the globe which isn't immune to the pandemic of World Cup fever. Just listen to that crowd. Australia, of course, are boosted by having drawn their first leg 1-1 in Tehran. And that means a no-scoring draw would see them through to the finals. But given Terry Venables' great experience, I doubt if he'll allow that thought to dominate his players' minds, because that is a very precarious strategy to employ against an Iranian side which turned in a kind of Jekyll and Hyde performance over the couple of games that we've seen them playing. They were inept and inefficient against Japan, and they looked a very impressive team against Australia. Which of their two natures we'll see today remains to be seen. You'll be seeing this game live on Eurosport in its entirety, and the kickoff in just a few moments. The only result, by the way, to take us into extra time will be 1-1, and of course we have the possibility of a golden goal there. Well, I talked about the double nature of this Iranian side, but of course Australia are not only boosted by that 1-1 score, but boosted by the return of Paul Lazaridis. He came on as a sub in Tehran. He wasn't obviously fully fit to take on the 90 minutes of that game, but when he did come on down the left-hand side, playing as he does for West Ham in a kind of wing-back role, to counteract the great attacking and the speed of Mehdi Madaviki on the right-hand side, and also to counter-attack himself, he was very impressive. Well, the gentleman, and that by the way, is Sander Poole, the man who refereed England against Germany in Euro 96. Right in the middle there, considered one of the best referees in the world. Well, if you're a cricket aficionado, you might think this is something of a sacrilege to see football coming into this marvellous cricketing stadium. Of course, they play Australian rules football here as well, but I think in the European mind, especially in the English mind, this is associated with Test match. Well, the gentleman sitting beside me, as I said, is Trevor Stephen, former England international, and Trevor has played for England in cauldrons like this before, but it's strange to hear it coming from Australia for what is a sport that doesn't dominate there. But you've been talking, in fact, to somebody who knows Paul Lazaridis very well.
Yes, I was only the other evening I happened to meet a friend of Mr. Lazaridis, and he was extolling his virtues to me, and I know Terry Venables for sure is very keen to have him back in the side for what is Australia's most important football match in a long, long time. As you can witness, it's an electric atmosphere. Not only just Australians in the stadium, a lot of Iranians as well.
Yeah, well, we're talking about which kind of Iran we're going to see. They were really awful against Japan. They were lucky to go into extra time in that game. But they did play impressively against Australia in Tehran itself. They looked a very thoughtful side. They lacked a bit of dynamic in front of goal, but they did look well organized and thoughtful.
Certainly from what we've seen over the last 2 or 3 games, they have been a Jekyll and Hyde team, and what they'll produce today nobody knows. And I feel they could be intimidated by the size of this crowd that's going to be majority against them. And we saw against Japan that they didn't travel too well, but maybe this is a game that's just going to bring the best out of them.
And of course, coming back into their side, a very significant player at number 6. Keep your eye on him, Karim Bagheri. There was a lot of controversy about the previous game, because 4 of the players in the Iranian side who had 2 yellow cards were allowed by FIFA to play in the game, but one player wasn't. His name, Karim Bagheri. He had head-butted an opponent in the last pre-qualifying round, and he was banned for 2 matches. He plays in Germany for Arminia Bielefeld, and he's travelled here in extraordinary circumstance, Trevor, because the new Argentinian coach of Iran has never seen him playing. How can you take a gamble on a player like that?
Well, his Bagheri's reputation goes before him, and I know for a fact that Terry Venables realizes that he is Iranian's most gifted player, and I would suggest that he will be closely marked by the Australians this afternoon. But however, it is a strange one that their coach has never really seen him play, but I'm sure he's got a lot of ability, and we'll see that during the game.
And Ali Day, the scorer, the top goal scorer, who was the top scorer in '96 in world football, he looked an impressive player, especially in the air.
He's certainly got the height to cause any defence problems, and although he didn't cause Japan a lot of problems, the first leg in this playoff against the Australians, he was quite...
Went across to Tehran. They were worried about the intimidation of the crowd there. It didn't occur. Now the Australian national anthem. Well, Trevor, I don't know what that did to the Iranians, but it certainly got through to me all right.
All very impressive stuff, and who says that Australia is not a footballing country?
Well, there we are. That's visible evidence of the way that World Cup fever catches on. The Australians 90 minutes away from qualifying, the Iranians perhaps up against it, playing here in the Melbourne Cricket Ground. If you're just joining us at breakfast time throughout Europe, you're listening to Archie McPherson and my colleague, the former England international Trevor Stephen. We're about to see the very last qualifying game for the World Cup in France, the draw for which takes place on December 4th in Marseille, and we'll be there live. Indeed, we'll give you a feast of football throughout the day, leading up to the game, the celebrity game between Europe and the rest of the world, and then the draw, all of it live on Eurosport. And here, the Australian team, as I said, strengthened by the inclusion of Stan Lazaridis and number 11 Harry Kewell, who scored a lovely goal against the Iranians. Very impressed with this 19-year-old.
Exactly, for a 19-year-old, he seems to have a very good mentality and strength of character. Scored, of course, the crucial goal, the away goal for the Australians in the first leg. He didn't get many opportunities, but the one that he did get, he took in great style.
There's a side, and again bolstered by number 6, Karim Bagheri. But the other player you've got to watch is number 11, Khordad Azizi, the Asian Player of the Year, who scored a delicate little equaliser. And indeed, I think the slow-motion replay made us appreciate it all the more, the deftness of the finish. Ali Day, both of these players playing in Germany, along with Bagheri. And the other player, very impressive, number 4 at the back, Mohamed Kakpour, who is really an icicle in that team.
Yeah, Mohamed Kakpour has been the linchpin of the defence for the Iranians, and It's particularly effective when he allows himself to come over the halfway line and get involved in attacks. I thought that the Iranians particularly was strong down the right-hand side. Terry Venables has been able to bring Stan Lazaridis in today to counteract that, and we'll see how that develops through the game.
That's a marvellous view of the Melbourne cricket ground. There's that football arena. Who would ever have thought some 20, 30 years ago that a World Cup game would be played in here? Sander Poole, the referee. Australia once in a World Cup before, short-lived of course. Iranians as well went to Argentina, where they had, as you probably know, Trevor, and reminded me, a rather, what I'd say, ignominious draw against a team called Scotland. One of the poorest performances by Scotland I've ever seen. And what impressed me about the Iranians there was their fitness, whereas when we saw them playing against Japan, they looked a rather jaded team.
To be quite honest, I think we saw the real Iranian side when they played the first leg against the Australians. They looked very subdued in the Japan game. As I say, I don't know if that was effective, them travelling, but we're going to find out now if they travel or not.
Referee Sander Poole about to start this game. A very brisk wind blowing. Will it blow Australia or Iran into the finals? I think we're going to see an Australian team affected by this astonishing demonstration of loyalty and faith in the background by this almost 100,000 crowd. One of the biggest crowds to watch. In fact, if you take the two games together, the 109,000 in Tehran and this almost 100,000 crowd, I think these two have been watched by more spectators than practically anybody. In qualifying, yellow-shirted Australians here, of course, and just going past Mama Kapoor. That's a beautiful opening ball there, and it just saved. Ahmad Reza saving there from Vidmar. Trevor, that really would have been a marvellous start for them.
That was an unbelievable opportunity. Number 9 there, Mark Viduka, pulls the ball across the box. Aurelio Vidmar stole in and has missed that opportunity.
There they go again on that replay. Coming in again, the same man. Aurelio Vidmar playing his football for Tenerife in Spain.
As two outstanding chances the Australians have created literally within the first 2 minutes of the game. I think the Iranians will consider themselves quite fortunate, as Ahmad Reza does there with that smile on his face, that they're not already 1-0 down in this game.
Well, he's gone through the whole gamut of emotions. We saw him pulling grimaces, writhing in agony, and now he is up there, and that's just past. And I think they might have the protection of the referee there.
I think that was a case there of Aurelio Vidmar just getting in the way of Ahmad Reza rather than there being a foul committed. The goalkeeper comes for it. A bit intimidated and impeded there. So it's a fair decision by the referee.
Tony Vidmar, his brother, plays in Glasgow, of course, and was playing in the first game. He's out of the side as Paul Lazaridis has come in, and you will see him operating down this left-hand side as well. Must say, before this game, Trevor, Terry Venables was just a little bit concerned about the surface here. It's not a football ground as such. Looks fairly good to me.
Yeah, I would reckon that considering the first game in Tehran, that pitch was extremely bobbly. This one, okay, it's a little bit uneven around the centre circle, but apart from that, I think it's in good condition.
Nice play there by Lazaridis, trying to ease that through, taken away by Kamadresa. Now this man, Madavikia, very good attacking fullback who laid on the first goal in Tehran. Vidmar, good support there. Bonmour, here he comes. It's got to be an early ball, and I think he gets a corner kick. And don't the crowd relish this marvellous, spectacular start by Australia?
I think this is going to be a different game altogether. The Australians, being at home, are being pushed on by the home crowd, and they're really going to have to set the pace in this game, and up to this point that's exactly what they've done.
Taken there by Harry Kewell, and it's just off the line. The goalkeeper totally misjudging that again. Viduka tried to touch that back. Trevor.
The ball's come straight over the top of Amadreza. Craig Moore stealing round the back. Three defenders on the line have managed to scramble it clear.
Well, Craig Moore, again, there he is there, the Glasgow Rangers player who operates, well, can operate in midfield and in central defence. But coming up there, he didn't quite get hold of that. Well, on the one hand, you may call it a very promising start. On the other hand, they've missed chances, Trevor, and this may add to the nerves and the tension.
I don't think they're going to be able to create a great deal better chances than the ones that they've created already, which must be slightly worrying for the home side. However, there's a long way to go, and I'm sure that the pressure's going to mount. The Iranians are going to have to defend very strongly indeed.
Nicely led out by Vidmar. Looking for a little bit of support, and he gets it there from Lazaridis. There's a little touch, and, well, there's cool for you.
Very nonchalant. Terry Venables there, disappointed again that the ball's not been put in just as he would have liked it. Amadreza, almost Pat Jennings-like, clutches the ball out of the air.
You're showing your age, Trevor, getting back there.
I've read about him.
Well, they've had to remain cool. Wouldn't he like to get back right into the main crucible of football again in this World Cup, Terry Venables, and prove a point or two.
That's a very encouraging start for the Australians. 4 chances already.
Number 3 there. That's beautifully put through. Can he put it away this time? And good defending. Back came Kakpur.
Aurelio Vidmar really should have done better with that one. That's the third opportunity he's had already in the game. And totally miskicked with his left foot going across away from goal. Another opportunity goes missing.
In by Lazaridis. Little stumble there. Viduka played very strongly, Trevor, in the first game. Very impressed by him. Formerly a Croatian. Now, of course, a naturalized Australian.
Yes, I think Mark Viduka up front gives the Australians the strength and power that they need. He makes some good runs into the channels. And you'll find Aurelio Vidmar working off him. And so far, that's been very effective. Vidmar having 3 chances so far in the game.
They're getting so much latitude down their side. Aurelio Vidmar. Another corner kick, and one wonders how this goalkeeper, this very temperamental goalkeeper, will cope with this intense, consistent pressure. This time, and just got out for a throw. That's the man who scored, or the lad who scored that first goal in Tehran. Harry Kewell, Leeds United. Goalkeepers considered even in Iran as a bit of an eccentric. Foster takes it, and that's a very good save indeed, right out of the danger zone. Picked up by Foster, and here's Slater. Away there by Piravani. Now Vidmar. Just lacked a little bit support at the back. Prodded away by Mehdi Pashi. And Moore very cleverly allows that to go free. Gets the throw out of that. I must say, the conduct of the Iranian players in Tehran, you know, they could have been affected and overreacted to the tremendous support that they had. But they were very measured and cool and very well disciplined.
Yeah, the game was played in the best possible spirit. And
that's a bit of ball by Vidmar, and the goalkeeper. 2 minds. Can it be put away and off the line by Mehdi Pashna?
Another great opportunity. Harry Kewell taking his chance. Lazaridis did exceptionally well. It's a tempting ball for the goalkeeper to get his hands on. The ball fell to Kewell's feet. A good strike. He couldn't have done any more with it. But there's Mehdi on the goal line to clear very well for the Iranians.
On to the near post, touched away and just over again. Well, he has made one mistake, but to compensate for that, 3 excellent saves by this goalkeeper.
That's a good ball in from Slater, getting the flick on. It'll be well practiced in training. Craig Moore gets the final attempt, and the goalkeeper is just there to tip it over the bar. Not really a goal threat as such, but again, more pressure from the Australians.
While Stan Lazaridis has proved very effective. Lovely footwork by Lazaridis.
Stan has seen a lot of the ball up to this point in the game. Only 10 minutes gone in the match, but he's proving a real thorn in the side of the Iranians, seeming to be able to get as much space as he requires.
And pushing away there at Kamadresa, coming back in defence. Well, they're pulverising this Iranian defence without actually making the most important last move. Venables maybe telling them just to cool it a little bit. Might be just that little bit overexcitable.
Well, he's got to be optimistic rather with the way things have gone so far. The Australians have seemed to be able to carve as many opportunities as they possibly can.
Down the line there by Kakpour. There's the ball down the left again. This time it's Viduka. He forces the corner of Mohamed Perevani.
They really need to start thinking about converting one of these chances that they've created. This is the umpteenth corner. Corners so far have been of good quality, but still nothing's come of it. And the Iranians must think themselves so lucky to be still 0-0 after just over 10 minutes of the match.
Foster taking this again, this time the near post one, and a little bit of a nudge there. Coming up was Tobin. Tobin coming in at the back, just the slightest push there. Sando Poole blowing his whistle again. That's a free kick.
Bit of a late challenge on Hamid Reza there from big Mark Viduka. 2 number 9s there, but one of them came off with a sore ankle from that one.
Well, this is the first instance of a really punishing challenge. As I said, it was played, and I don't think we saw a tackle quite like that in the first leg, Trevor.
No, a little bit rash, but happily Hamid Reza's back on his feet and looks quite comfortable now.
Just a reminder, by the way, of Thursday, where Eurosport will be giving you lots of football, including, of course, the draw live for the World Cup. And remember, Australia and Iran, if you're just joining us, drew 1-1 in the first leg. And here, with about 13 minutes gone, it's still nothing each. That's Slater on that far side. He's taking all the corner kicks from either side. Talking about Maridad Mirivad, who's been playing very well in defence. Number 25, the man who saved that last shot off the line. It's said that after the World Cup he'll go to Germany. And it looks as if it's going to be Arminia Bielefeld as well. They seem to have a strong Iranian connection there. There's their first ball into the penalty area, where Mark Bosnich in goal has been a mere spectator. Wild shot that time. Absolutely nowhere near goal. Nima Nakisa with that. launches himself into it. Well, I think what we saw in the opening 10 minutes was a huge explosion of adrenaline in the veins of the Australian players. I think they were affected by the emotional background to this, and they may have to play just a little more coolly.
The crowd certainly will still encourage the Australians to maintain the pace of the game. I think it's important that they do that. Terry Venables will be pushing his side to maintain as much as he possibly can this rhythm of game that the Australians have got themselves into, because all right, they haven't taken one of the opportunities that they've created, but certainly quantity, they have created good chances.
Well, Alex Tobin occasionally comes forward. That's the man who plays in Adelaide, one of the few home-based Australian players. Well, that's how hectic the game has been, Trevor. I think the ball was the first casualty. Free kick. Really impressed by the player Stan Lazaridis on this left-hand side, and making that just too obvious a ball into the goalkeeper. Yes, they're winning everything. Here he goes again. Stan Lazaridis. Wiedmar. But after that opening, agonizing few moments, they are really defending very well, and that is the man, number 2 here, whom the Australians were concerned about. That's why Stan Lazaridis is principally in this side. Number 2, Mehdi Madakavikia, with his strong runs down the right-hand side. And that's the first time we've seen him picking up a loose ball and making tracks for goal. Lovely ball inside, and I think the flag was up on the other side, and the crowd, G'd up on the occasion, may have thought that was the penalty kick. Nothing of the kind.
I think the referee spotted that as being offside. A good little ball from Viduka. Wiedmar tried to time his run, just drifted offside though.
Well, Aurelio Wiedmar has been very prominent so far. Viduka, a very strong shouldered player, as you can see. Coming in with Reza Sharodi. But they are beginning to string the passes together. That was Bagheri, number 6. We've hardly seen him in the game. Here he goes into the tackle. Karim Bagheri from Arminia Bielefeld. And apart from anything else, Trevor, he only arrived a couple of days before this game into Australia from Germany. I think it's got areas. It's going to be very difficult for him.
Yeah, it won't be easy, just adjusting to the pace of this fixture, and it would have been ideal for him to have played in the first game, but he's going to have to get his legs pretty soon.
This is the top goal scorer, Ali Day. Ball swept away from him by Slater. Moore coming in. Little bit of dissent amongst the Iranian players. And that's supposedly the most surprising indication there of how this game has gone. Almost 18 minutes and no scoring, given all the chances that Australia have had in this game. I think a jersey was pulled. Jersey there of Craig Foster. Foster has played about a bit, of course, playing now for Portsmouth, and brought here into the side by Terry Venables, especially, though he's played in Singapore and Hong Kong before that. Not really all that experience. Terry Venables Just lost his 100% record with that draw in Tehran. He had won 12 games out of 12. They've got to watch this man inside here. That's touched in. That was a run by Naeem. Naeem, the man who was on a drugs charge and suspended for 6 months. Rather thinning on top. He's the man who will operate down the right-hand side, and that surely. Free kick. Well, I don't think Sanderpool would have given it for the first challenge in actual fact, Trevor.
Well, it seemed 6 and 2 threes, but just there, Baghetti's got his hand right across his Craig Foster there. You just feel, though, that the Iranians are starting to get some composure back into their ranks. It's not been easy for them. Indeed, we haven't seen much of the players who were influential for them in the first game, the likes of Godad, Azizi, Ali Dai. 2 goal threats for the Iranians, but we haven't seen them on the ball at all in the match.
Well, they're not being allowed to settle in midfield. That's touched inside to Madavikia. Baghetti. Perivani. Well, that's the man you were talking about. Kodadad Azizi, who's going away across to the left-hand side. Asian Player of the Year, scorer of the equaliser in Tehran. And, of course, plays his football for FC Cologne in Germany. He's wandering about a bit, I think, to try and get a little bit of the action and better service. Just wonder if the Australians at this stage of the game have pumped too much into it to start off with, and they're looking for something a little bit extra now.
They need to perhaps be a little bit less frantic about their play. There was a rush of adrenaline, as you say, the first 10 minutes, but since then they stopped getting on the ball, stopped playing it around, and they allowed the Iranians just to get themselves into the game a little bit.
Baghetti. Forward there by Madavikia. Well picked up by Stan Lazaridis again. And that ball was met inside for Aurelia Vidmar coming up. And Viduka, the man who plays for Croatia Zagreb, and who should have been playing. And there's Ali Dai going forward.
Again, though, in that last move, it was Stan Lazaridis who created the opportunity. He's working in really well on the left-hand side. And it was Viduka's bad touch which didn't allow the move to continue.
He's seen so much of the play and is using the ball well. Here he goes again, and that's an excellent tackle. Mohammad Kakpour coming across. Very useful player, this, and as I said, he wants to go to German football as well, but he's touching 29, Trev, and I think perhaps he should have left Iran before now.
Maybe his time is yet to come, but he's certainly played well in the games we've seen, and I said it before the game started that he was their linchpin in defence, and I think over the 90 minutes it'll prove that way. Again, he was just in the right place at the right time.
There he is. Forward there by Azizi. Trying to get that ball forward to Ali Dai. Whereby Perivani in defence. Kakpour. And they're beginning to stroke it round now. When they did play well in that game in Tehran, I was very impressed by the quality of possession. That's swept in there by Harry Kewell. There's a break. Now Ali Dai might want to go himself. Azizi, good tackling there. Just get the impression about Ali Dai that he's a big man. He's obviously talented. seems to lose the ball too easily for me. I think you would want him to be a bit more physical about his play.
Yeah, he's a big strapping man. I think his strengths lie in the air, not particularly that gifted on the ground, but he's got a lot to offer.
That'll be a free kick in a very interesting position here, and once again the thrusting play of West Ham Stan Lazaridis. And then ball played through there to Viduka, slipping it through to him on the edge of the box.
Yeah, the first game in positions like this, we saw Ned Zelic stepping up to have a fly at goal. Not to great effect, may I say so. Perhaps he has got his shooting boots on tonight.
Massive crowd inside the stadium. And the noise, of course, will be heard throughout this continent if Australia put the ball in the back of the net. Ned Zelic, number 6 there. He leaves it alone. It's taken by Vidmar eventually. And that's a rather nervy poke at goal, you could hardly call it a shot there. Ned Zelic, last we saw him playing, Zelic was in the Champions League. Played against Glasgow Rangers, of course. Played in Germany for Borussia Dortmund before moving on to that man of great guile in football. Tried to play the long ball through the middle. Viduka. Stan Lazaridis. Brought away by Kamedresa. The play rather petering out at the moment for Australia, and the chances are now beginning to dry up for them.
Of course, the longer the game goes with the Iranians in this fairly comfortable position, you know, there's always going to be the chance that they're going to get really comfortable in the game, and the Australians are going to find it more and more difficult to create opportunities.
Well, they step forward there, and notice number 2 and number 11. Number 2, Madavikia, and number 11, Kodadad Azizi, creeping forward into that offside position. They're both very, very fast. Taken there by Steve Horvat. Another foreigner, by the way, Steve Horvat, in terms of playing his football, plays for Hajduk Split. That's a lovely little touch inside. A lot of football coming from Stan Lazaridis in this side. Inside by Craig Foster. A little bit obvious, though. Touched away on that side by Kamedresa. Azizi. Ali Dai. First touch let him down there. Craig Moore going back with him. And we mentioned this quality about Craig Moore before. He is a very tenacious marker.
Yeah, he's a very determined young man, and I thought he played very well in the first game against Ali Dai when Ali Dai was on his home territory, and again tonight he's sticking very close to his shoulder.
Mehdi Pashda. Difficult day it is for Mark Bosnich. He's going to do a lot of spectating. But of course, another talented player and very experienced player in the side. Reza Sharodi. Nice play there by Kuhl. Well, I'm sure some of the crowd would recognize that clutch, almost as if he had been practicing in Australian rules football. That's how they catch the ball here in this ground. Lazaridis is carving them up on this left-hand side, and there's Vidmar with the shot.
Good effort from Vidmar. Amadriza scurrying across his goal. All of 35 metres from goal. The whole thing opens up for him, keeps his head down and makes a good strike, and had the goalkeeper very worried indeed.
Wasn't all that far away.
That was a good effort, just curved away just in the last seconds.
I don't think the goalkeeper was going to get to that, frankly. But the Iranians, having weathered that typhoon that they faced in the first 10 minutes, are now beginning to look very resolute. And I think there's going to be a yellow card for Mohamed Kakpour. At Sanderpool, as I said, he refereed England in that game at Wembley against Germany. Amongst the many he has done around the world. So Terry Venables knows him only too well. There he is. Mohamed Kakpour looks older than his 27 years, but then don't we all nowadays, I suppose. And it goes. Kuhl beginning to take part in this match now. Zeric. Mustn't lose possession here, though, and I think he played for that, Vidmar.
Yeah, it's always a dangerous place to lose the ball if you're going to lose it at all. I think it was a foul, but Vidmar was under pressure and perhaps fortunately did get the foul to take the pressure off.
Well, I think he was delighted to hear the whistle, let's put it that way. Cross comes Lazaridis, little word from the bench.
Yeah, Lazaridis seems to have recovered from the foul that was brought the booking from, for Mohamed Kakpour, but Lazaridis seems to be fine now, and Venables will be delighted with that.
Just a bit too obvious there, headed away by Perivani, number 5. That looked a very cumbersome tackle and a free kick to me. Yes, thought for a moment the tremendous din in this ground. I thought for a moment that was going to pass the scrutiny of the referee.
Yeah, a bit of a lazy challenge from Ali Dai. Nothing really bad about it. It was just a lazy foul.
Well, dare I say it, Trevor, for a player who plays up front on his own all the time, there isn't enough malice in his play. If you take that in the sense I mean it, you know, he's just, they rough him up too easily.
Yeah, I think he's one of these players that actually needs to get angry in the game, and sometimes that is created by a defender kicking him or something like that, but it takes something to get his adrenaline flowing.
Kuhl. Here's Slater. Kuhl. Little bit rushed into that. Vidmar. That's a better ball, and there's a touch. 3 Australians, that's it! Australia have opened the scoring. And look at Harry Kuhl there, right in the middle. He's done it again. Wonderful shot there. Listen to that sound. Harry Kuhl right across there.
That was a fantastic ball in there from Vidmar on the left-hand side. Tricked the defender. We see him swerving all over the place here. Good ball in, just the perfect pace on the ball. Viduka goes for it. 2 players queuing up at the back post, and it was Harry Kuhl, the 19-year-old again, who's got himself in the right place at the right time. And there you go, two goals in 2 games for him, gives Australia the lead.
Well, to use an old-fashioned phrase about young Harry Kuhl, he seems a bit of a poacher, doesn't he? You know, getting into the box at the right time, and he's done it twice now. And what an eruption of sound there.
Yeah, that's a natural goal scorer's instinct that Harry Kuhl's shown there. He saw Vidmar creating something on the left-hand side, stole in behind the defence, and to be fair to him, he took the goal very, very well indeed on his weaker foot. Had to use his right foot there, and took the goal exceptionally well indeed.
Craig Foster right in the middle. Here's the goal. It looked as if they would all miss it. Viduka couldn't get there, and in he stepped at the right time. Harry Kewell. Lovely piece of play here by Aurelia Wiedmar. And he does that in Spain a lot.
I thought the opportunity might have just gone by there when Viduka didn't make contact with the header. But that's good play from the two Australians following up, and Kewell was there to take advantage.
Well, with great respect to my cricketing friends, I don't think even a cover drive by Don Bradman in this ground ever provoked such a noise as Australia scoring in 32 minutes.
It's fair to say that it was no more than the Australians have deserved for the general performance in the first 30 minutes. The last 10's been a little bit average, to say the least. The Iranians coming back into it, but with the chances that they created in that first 15-minute spell, I think it's a fair scoreline as it is at the moment.
Very broad-shouldered figure there of Viduka, who seemed to miss his chance. And indeed, Australia looked as if they would miss it. Good play here, as I said. Evasive play and in-stepped Kewell. And the assistant referee in this side was right in line, Trevor, so I think that run came after the ball had been played.
Yeah, he timed it very well. It's anticipation, that's all it is really, but you've got to say that the Iranians would... The defence were away on holiday. I don't know where they were, but allowing two Australians to have the opportunity to score like that, and what is one of the most important games that either of these sides has played in, was quite frightening prospect, I think, for the Iranian coach.
Well, I'm sure George Graham, the Leeds United manager, will be watching this back in England and delighted with his young prodigy, only 19. He's only been playing for a year for Australia. Made his debut in a friendly against Chile. There he is again. Oh, he'll have grown about another foot after scoring that goal, Trevor.
Not bad for the confidence, you know, scoring one goal, okay, in Tehran, in front of 128,000 screaming Iranians, but to do it on the home territory in what is such an important game for them. Terry Venables, I think, will be a lot calmer now.
And I think he'll be drinking something stronger than that which he has in his hand if it goes and continues to go this way. Now, if they scored again, I think this team might collapse. We notice, you mentioned right at the start about the Iranians that were very poor travellers. Well, they've travelled a long way for this game. They've held out. They just got by in the first 5 minutes. And they might now begin to lapse into the form they showed against Japan.
Well, there's a lot of questions now going to be asked of them. You know, what's their character like? How good a side are they in reality? And if the Australians have anything about them, they will really stretch them to the limit now and look for another goal to take into the half-time interval.
Goalkeeper allowing that to go right back. Ahmadreza Abizadeh, 31 years of age. He's a kind of cult figure in Iran, and we saw something of that in the Japanese game where, as I said about him, he would have put Sir Laurence Olivier to shame for some of the dying acts he put on. Steve Horvat. There he is. Horvat, a strong player in the air as well. Plays for Hajduk Split. Way forward there, Craig Foster on the right-hand side. They get the free kick again. That's Karim Bagheri. Just a reminder of the big day for World Cup football, and for Eurosport. We'll be there live at the World Cup. Draw put away from Kewell by Pirivani. And too much on that. Well, Stan Lazaridis coming into the side. He's been off for 3 weeks with an injury, and he was used as a substitute in the first game, and you could see right away he relished the prospect, and I think it's coming to fruition from the start for him today.
He certainly does look totally fit for this game, and he's been, I feel, the most.
There's a better chance as Azizi tries to get in there, and indeed it was Lazaridis in a defensive capacity. He looked as if he was slightly vulnerable.
As I was going to say there, he was certainly appears to be the most influential player on the field up to this point, and for the left bank, that is really quite amazing. We've seen a lot of him going forward, of course, and I often feel that Lazaridis is underestimated in that department, but he certainly does offer a great threat going forward. He's got one of these styles of lolloping along, great strides, but at the same time he's got good feet, good ability, and he does knock a good ball into the box.
Slater just gets it away. It was good play. Craig Foster nipped away from Foster. Well, it is remarkable, you know, Trevor, and I think we should emphasize this, how difficult it is for a team like Australia to bring people together. I mean, in Europe, it's maybe a 2-3 hour plane journey for some of the international players. Here we're talking about definitely jet lag every time they come to Australia to play in a game. Yeah, it's like the player I've just been mentioning, Craig Foster with Portsmouth.
Exactly, yeah. They're spread all over on 3 or 4 continents, and it is difficult to bring them all together.
Ali Day, I think, offside, yes. The assistant referee on this near side with his flag up. Watch the way that Kuhl sneaks in here, near post. And the goalkeeper may have been expecting it. It swept across his right-hand side.
Now, what you were saying before there, Archie, about the disruption that these games actually create for the teams that these lads are playing for right across Europe and Asia and the different places where they are playing now. I was speaking to Paul Walsh, who was playing with Portsmouth until recently, and still in fact is associated with them, and he said because Portsmouth have 3 Australians playing in the Australian side, that their games are having to be cancelled at this moment in time, and it does cause disruption, and they've missed 2 games in fact, Portsmouth, when the other teams have been playing in the league, as a case of catch up as the season goes on.
Some clubs not happy about it. Here's Slater. Swept across to that side. Zelic had put it over. Stan Lazaridis. Touch forward there by Bagheri. He's not been in the game. I think that's very significant, and maybe not surprising given the circumstances of his coming here just 48 hours ago on his own from Germany.
Yeah, definitely that. I think the fact that Terry Venables has done his homework, and he knows Bagheri is their most influential player given the chance, and the Australians, to be fair to them, are working really hard to prevent him getting on the ball.
Kakpour. Touch back there by Kamadreza. Just under 3 minutes from half-time, and things have gone splendidly for the Australians. They could have been 2 or 3 goals up at this stage. There's Ali Day, who scored 26 goals in 96, which made him, in World Cup football, which made him the top goal scorer in the FIFA rankings. Plays in Germany. Three times winners of the Asian Cup, Iran. You would have to say with their track record that they would be considered the best team in Asia, the best footballing nation in Asia.
Well, we did see that in the first leg of this playoff, that they could play good football, but again, the Australians are not allowing them to get into this game at all, and they're totally dominating things at the moment.
Here's a lovely run through the middle down. Mark Bosnich coming forward there for this very dangerous penetration of Mehdi Madavikia.
Bosnich did well, but I would say that Mehdi's overrun the ball there just when he made an excellently timed run from midfield. There were one or two Iranians offside at the time, but the referee did exceptionally well, allowed play on, and just one touch too many has allowed Bosnich to get to the ball.
It does indicate very clearly that this game is far from over.
Good goalkeeping there by Bosnich. He, as we said earlier, has been very quiet and literally unused in this game, but his concentration was there. He was sharp and has allowed Australia to keep this 1-0 goal lead.
Now played there by Kuhl, just a little bit too cutely this time, trying to find Wiedmar. Forward by Kakpour. Their football just that little bit more precise than the Australians. It was in the first game as well, but maybe not fitting for this occasion, and that's offside. Khordad Azizi.
The Australians are holding that back line very comfortably, and Azizi and Ali Dai are finding it difficult to get into the channels. They're not timing their runs particularly well. Find the Australians have used the channels a lot better. The Iranians are more deep in defence, which has allowed Viduka and Vidmar to create holes and opportunities for them, for the Australians to get out of defence. The Iranians up to this point are just totally frustrated with their lack of progress up the field.
So into stoppage time. Crowd whistling for half-time. Huge screams on either side. And I think that may be a free kick. Well, I don't know about that. That could have gone either way. Australia not exactly sitting pretty just before half-time, but clearly in a more comfortable position than the visitors. Iran, as Sanderpool brings the first half to an end. Mark Bosnich has been as much a spectator as Terry Venables, except for that last little lunge there by the Iranians. And there, wonderful example of this crowd. They've been behind the team since the very outset in the most amazing way. Real eruption of sound throughout, and Australia leading by 1-0. They have to watch themselves, though. There's little doubt that we still have a torrid second half to come. We'll be seeing the entire second half live, of course. Tim, if you're just joining us in the European morning, you're watching a game that's turned out to be tantalizing, explosive, and for the Australians at this moment in time, exactly right. They're leading by 1-0. A goal scored by, again, 19-year-old Harry Kuhl from Leeds United. Almost a replica of the one he scored in the first game in Tehran. Beside me, Trevor Stephen, the former England international, who's been impressed by the thrust, the vigour, not just of the Australian players, but of the crowd as well. I mean, it's not a footballing country by the normal European standards, and yet, you know, looking at some of the games we've been doing for Eurosport over this last couple of years, this is about as good an atmosphere as say, in that centre of football, Madrid, when we did the Spanish Cup final.
It's really quite extraordinary. I would never have thought that the Australian public would get so behind their side as they're showing here at Melbourne, and it's been an absolutely incredible, passionate first half display from the team and from the crowd. Has been a combination of both, and they'll certainly get what they wanted at the moment, you know, with the Australians leading the game.
The Iranians have remained very cool. Their play, you might say, has been based on the principle that they realized they were going to face something very special here, and when the goalkeeper produced that very broad smile in the first 45 seconds of the game. It was as if to say to the defenders, well, we expected this, so don't panic. And I think that might have got through to his defense in the first 15 minutes, because they were really under siege, but they managed to hold out, although I think they were slightly fortunate, Trevor, to do so.
Yeah, I think so. I think that was almost a sigh of relief, a grin of relief, if you like. He knew that they'd got out of jail early on in the game, and as the first half wore on, the Iranians came back into the match. The Australians couldn't quite maintain that degree of pace that they'd managed to achieve early on in the game, and they hadn't converted their chances. But in the end, Harry Kewell stole in on the blind side and scored a good goal with his right foot, and the Australians deserve to be in front at the moment.
Well, there's a very nonchalant referee, Sander Poole. Let me repeat, he refereed that England-Germany semi-final at Wembley, so he's well enough known to Terry Venables, who I imagine has told his team to be very careful, because we saw a couple of breaks by the Iranians, especially by this outstanding wing-back that they have, Mehdi Madavikia, who almost went through and equalised, but for the presence of mind of Mark Bosnich in goal, flopping at his feet very bravely, or else it would have been one each. So that was, I think, a salutary warning to this Australian side, who'll be far from cocky. I'm sure Terry Venables will refuse to let them be like that. Off we go into the second half. You're watching Australia leading Iran by 1-0, and beside me, Trevor Stephen, former England international. The only result that would give us extra time and the possibility of a golden goal would be one each, and it doesn't look like that at this moment. Nicely played down there by Mehdi Pasharadeh. They do try to be creative and out of defence. Played back by Kamadresa. That was Pasharadeh away with it, also called Mehdi. Want them to be patient. Stan Lazaridis on the far side. Well, young Harry might have scored that goal, but I think the man in the first half who was influential was Stan Lazaridis.
Yeah, there he is on the ball again. He's proven a real thorn in the side.
Couldn't get the shot on there, Viduka, but I think he might have been claiming he was being pulled.
I think he might have an argument there. It was a good turn. Lazaridis again fed the ball into him nicely. Defender all over Viduka there, and he couldn't quite get enough on the ball to threaten the goal itself, but good strength shown in the box there. He'd made himself the half yard, but the defender actually fouled him, and the referees let it go.
Well, another start by the Australians that suggests that this defence could be fairly fragile if they conceded another goal. Australia, of course, ran up huge scores when they were playing in the earlier games. Scored 13 goals in one game against the Solomon Islands, but then you might expect that. And we said it, Trevor, that this is the real test for Terry Venables. These last two games he's played. Viduka, Aurelia Vidmar, Stan Lazaridis. That's a nice ball, an inviting one, and there it's off the bar, and in! Vidmar makes it 2-0. Aurelia Vidmar, the man who plays in Spanish football for Tenerife, coming in there with a glowing result at the end, and that man's face reflects it.
That was an understatement of joy there from Terry Venables. It was yet again Stan Lazaridis who tormented the Iranian defence on the right-hand side of the Iranian team. There he goes again, just creating that half yard. That's all he needs. Puts a good deep ball into the back post where Harry Kewell likes to loiter. Good header from him, pulls it back to Craig Foster. And it's Vidmar who's Johnny on the spot there, just to whack the ball into the net, giving Australia a really comfortable 2-0 lead.
And the Iranians now realise they've got to score twice And that's going to be very difficult for them. Perfect start. That was 2.5 minutes. A great play. That man, Stan Lazaridis, whom we have picked out as the most influential player in the first half. And there he is right away again.
Yeah, everybody watching this must be sick of us mentioning his name, but he's actually appeared in everything positive the Australians have done. I thought Harry Kuehl took up, again, a good position, knowing that the ball could come deep and he was going to be the man that was there. Craig Foster unlucky with the snap header, but it was Vidmar who got the glory and puts the Australians 2-0 up.
Well, well, I did say this was a cricket ground.
Yeah, they've obviously just got a hold of the cricket nets and decided to throw them on 2 wooden posts.
Well, they do look like practice nets, but we'll have that sorted out soon. And it's good to see the goalkeeper seeing the funny side of it. All they need to do is put them up on the clips there, I suppose. But I think the referee will insist on more security than that. And oh dear, oh dear. I don't think the Australian crowd appreciated him coming onto the pitch there. I think he wanted to remonstrate with the official for stopping the game.
Quite an unusual episode. I can't remember seeing this, certainly in a match of this quality. I've seen it on the local park on a Sunday morning, but never quite in a game of this importance.
They might just make it. Well, they're calling for a handyman. 2-0 down. The net is a victim as well. And now they're testing the crossbar, I think. I remember a certain crossbar being taken away from Wembley on one occasion, Trevor. You may recall that.
I do remember that, and they do give away under pressure and strain. Now, I wouldn't like to think that they're going to end up with half a dozen people sitting on that crossbar, and we don't have a replacement crossbar for it.
Well, I don't think, range stop play is a phrase associated with this stadium in the past. Maybe not as often as it does in England, but net stop plays, I think, goes into a special category in this famous old stadium, the Melbourne Cricket Ground. The crowd lapping up the fact, well, I suppose the Australians love this little episode.
Well, just adding to this festive spirit there, which is marauding around the whole stadium, and the Australians, as in general terms in the game, as Terry Venables.
I think he's annoyed about this. You know, he feels that the whole occasion should have had this professional sheen about it, and I was stopped because the net's not there.
Yeah, I'm sure he won't be too concerned as long as he gets the 90 minutes under his belt with a victory, and at this moment that the Australians are very, very comfortably positioned in the game.
Well, there are many things you can do with sellotape. I think they'll just manage it. But here we see this play once again by Stan Lazaridis. That great left foot.
That's excellent ability. He's making that look very easy. The way he's just getting that half a yard.
And you know, from that angle again, that was a very cool finish by Vidmar, because that ball, he took it
on the half volley there, didn't he? Yeah, he came in, took the ball well. He had time and he was coming on at pace. He just had to concentrate on hitting the ball on the target, and fortunately for these supporters, he didn't make any mistake with it.
Well, they're not caring a jot about this unexpected interval that we're having in the stadium. There's Aurelien Vidmar, the players just jogging around to make sure that they pump the blood through the veins and don't get stiff and sore, which could happen. All it needs now is a strong drive from the hardest shooter in the side, Mabuduka, and that might just go again. Sander Poole about to restart the game. That's, I would say, something like 3 to 4 minutes. We've been held up there. And very kindly booted back to this goalkeeper, who seems to be in a very good frame of mind, even though he's just conceded that second goal.
Just doesn't seem to be any upsetting this guy. I mean, one of the strangest little warm-ups I've seen. 2 forward rolls.
And there's Bosnich, not brought into action except in the last couple of minutes of the first half with that excellent, well-anticipated run forward to thwart the attacking fullback, Mehdi Madavikia. Flicked on there by Slater. Viduka looks very useful, of course. He should have been playing in European football as well last week. We showed the Croatia-Zagreb Atletico Madrid game, and he was absent because he's been with this Australian squad, of course, for the past 3 weeks. Looks a useful player. Referee wisely allowing the play to proceed there. And all credit to Iran. They're still trying to play the normal good football in midfield. No free kick there. And away by Mehdi Pasharade. Well, Aurelio Vidmar, the hero of this side, as he took that ball away and played forward by Nedzelic. And Viduka, I think, is probably a penalty box player, as witness that attempted pass by him from outside it.
Yeah, he found himself in a lot of space there and wasted the opportunity somewhat, but the Iranians have a decision to make now. They're 2-0 down. They need to score one quickly and then get another to have any chance of qualifying. This could fall right into the hands of the Australians, who are going to find themselves with a lot more space.
That was Craig Moore, tried to play that forward down the side to Harry Kuehl. Touched inside by Kamadresa.
I think it'll be very easy now for the Iranians to lose some discipline in their formation, pushing forward, striving for the goal. And as I say, this will allow the Australians more of the ball in the Iranian half.
Coming forward there, Nedzelic. And substitute coming on here. Looks to me as if it will be Alireza Manburian. Just about to come on. Midfield player. Bosnich again. Lovely push forward there by Stan Lazaridis. Willie has that very smooth gliding action. That, by the way, is Craig Foster, but it was Lazaridis again who set it up down the left-hand side.
Yeah, well, one of the beauties about Stan is that he's got a very good engine. He can run for the full 90 minutes. Couldn't do that, of course, in the first leg where he was carrying a bit of an injury, but he's certainly benefiting the whole Australian side with everything that he can offer on the left-hand side there.
A lot of curl and ad, and the goalkeeper slightly misjudging it again, Amadresa. Seems placid enough, but I think that's where he's vulnerable, probably, Trevor.
Yeah,
We've noticed that in the 3 games we've now done.
He doesn't seem particularly confident at all in taking balls from corners, for catching corners.
And it's coming off there, it's Rezi Sarodi. And on comes the substitute. As I said, it's Alireza Mansourian. Alireza Mansourian. Looked like a push there. Yes, they're out of sorts at the moment. This could be it. And coming in there, Vidmar again. And they were caught very flat indeed. And they seem to go brain dead.
Well, unfortunately, that was Alireza's first contribution to the game. It almost proved the final nail in the coffin as far as the Iranians are concerned. Difficult to come on and adjust to the pace of a game like this at any time, but his first touch was around the penalty box, and it fell to the Australians, and another opportunity missed for them.
Scorer of that very cool second goal, very difficult ball, a rebound coming to him, taking it on the half volley and controlling it well. Just nipped away from cue by Pirivani. Here he is again. Dead in by Zelic. And coming on that side to take it away, that's the substitute who made almost that fatal error a minute ago, Ali Reza Mansuria. Well, Slater has played a useful, if hardly flamboyant, role down this right-hand side.
Yeah, Robbie Slater's filling a hole in a position for the Australians, giving them some balance. He doesn't need to be driving on as much as Lazaridis is on the other side.
Here's Viduka, that's the strength of the man, and he gets a shot in eventually. Now Q settling for the corner kick, and that was a bit more like the bustling, aggressive player that we've been told that this man certainly is. Yeah,
Viduka did well there. Threaded his way through a couple of average challenges, to be honest, from the Iranians. Again, a save of total unorthodoxity there from Ahmed Reza.
Corner kick. And this time with confidence clutching that. Now Bagheri hasn't really settled into this game. He is the real playmaker in the side. And I don't think he's got his mind back from that journey he's just had from Germany. That was Craig Forster putting that inside. Touched away by Zelic, and then on again to Stan Lazaridis. Gets a free kick out of that.
They really just can't cope with his positiveness. His strong runs are causing all sorts of difficulties for the Iranians.
And just as well he recovered from the injury which had sidelined him for 3 weeks. Free kick. And the free kicks Australia have taken haven't been all that impressive in this game. Left to Ed Zelic. And it's just away. Well, Craig Moore coming up for that. He snatched goals in the Scottish League with your club, your former club Glasgow Rangers, of course. Something like this.
Yeah, he's quite used to doing that sort of thing. Sneaking in, getting on the wrong side of defenders. A good ball from Zelic, but Craig was just a couple of inches short and getting a good solid header in, on goal there.
And that would have killed it. If the Iranians got another goal, of course, it would put an entirely different complexion on this game. Viduka laid that off very nicely. Oh, they're turning on the style now. There's no offside. Or is there? No. Referee looked across very quickly at his assistant. And that was a good move by the Australians. We haven't seen that kind of more complicated play off them. The rather more direct side, Trevor. There's no offside this time. Away he goes, Q. Can he cut it across? And it just touched away. Madavikia coming back, and he may have done it his hamstrings.
Well, we've seen a team now full of confidence. The Australians powering forward now, and we're seeing some excellent moves, some great movement. Harry Kuehl there beating the offside trap. Couldn't quite pick out Vidmar at the far post.
Corner kick, and I think they realise it. Both sets of players realise it. Another goal now for Australia, and that's Cottons. Well, the goalkeeper almost like a basketball player that time. Now, Ali Day. He's been anonymous in the second half, and he almost touched it forward there to Saravizo. No offside. That's a very good position. The Australian defence caught out. And the two central defenders, Horvat and Tobin, allowed that to go through. Well, that was unfortunate there for Mehdi Madavikia. Trotting on the ball at a crucial time, and another little warning shot across the bows of this Australian team. And there's a high one by Viduka.
That's all happening now. A missed kick there from Amadreza fell straight to Viduka, who tried his luck and tried to lob the goalkeeper from the halfway line. Just came off the outside of his boot. Here he is, sees the keeper well off his goal line, has a thrash at it, but slices it left of the goal.
Yes, as you say, snatching. He just required a little more composure. That's a goal kick. And I think he realizes it himself.
I think what Terry Venables would like to see now is the Australian side controlling the game a bit better than they are. It's a little bit end-to-end stuff, and I think he would like to see them get a hold of the ball in midfield, settle it down, and be very constructive, but be very controlled about their play.
Well, we've now had two substitute balls and a net having to be put up, so there has been an exceptional quality to this match, apart from the football being played. Kakpour. Oh, it seems as if the fates are against them as well. Little things happening that really shouldn't happen at this stage. Zelic. Not as many players forward as perhaps there should have been for that move.
Yeah, they don't really need to be throwing the ball into the box as often as they are doing at the moment. They just need to settle themselves down and really snuff out the Iranian threat entirely.
You know, this is a big test for Terry Venables. It looks as if he's going to make it. Early, long way to go yet. But when he does, he's going to have to take a side which is perhaps not as good as the average European national side and think his way as to how to get the very best out of them. And that's going to be a big test for him. This is Qudadid Aziz. Ali Dai. Just a little uncertainty in that Australian defence for a second there.
Yeah, certainly this has been a test for the Australians over the two legs. The biggest test they've had so far in qualifying for the World Cup. But it really is going to be a different ball game come France in the summer of '98.
They really do need to play a lot of friendlies against European and South American opposition if they can. I'm not quite sure what the plans are yet, but that man there will have to think his way through it very carefully, and of course he'll relish the challenge. Cheers, Terry. Hovering there again, Kuhl, who's simply playing on that left-hand side now with Viduka right in the middle. There's a nice neatness, crispness to Stan Lazaridis' play there, which I think has served him very well in these tight positions when he's taken on that defence. You saw a little example of it there again. Here's Ali Day. Did better there to use his physique and tries to go forward again. He's been very well marked by Robbie Slater, who's, I think, more tenacious than his opponent.
I think that's as a characteristic of Robbie Slater's game. As we mentioned before, he won't be the most artistic player on the field, but he will certainly give you 100% effort and gives a good balance to the team. And he's certainly snuffed out the threat of Ali Dai there, who's not really appeared much in the game at all. We've not seen any momentum from him. He played very well in the first leg, but the Australians really haven't allowed him to take any part in this game.
Kakpour. I think that was evidence of mental agony on his part.
Yeah, the strain was showing there, wasn't it?
Yes, a useful player, but there needs to be a certain crudity to his play as well as the finesse that he does show, and I think that's why he's not going to make it in European football. I think he needs to have a bigger appetite for keeping the ball and holding it, not giving it away as much. They're taken by Mehdi Basharade. Azizi, almost anonymous in this game. Played back there by the substitute Ali Reza. Free kick. Nothing sensational about the three central defenders, Horvat, Tobin and Craig Moore. They do the sensible things and do them simply.
Yeah, Terry's got them playing in a nice little formation, and they seem comfortable with each other. They've not been tested at all.
Kuhl trying to turn it inside.
That was just a simple long ball forward from defence, and Harry Kuhl is doing very well now. He's spinning off his defenders, making use of those areas of the field and the channels in those areas next to the penalty area. And again, he's made himself an opportunity and ends up with a corner for the Australians.
Does take that very well. That's floated for the header back. It's achieved, touched away by Kerem Bagheri. Forward again by Foster. Kuhl. Robbie Slater puts it in. And forward came Craig Foster, and perhaps somebody would have been better placed just further back than him.
Yeah, he arrived there on the scene, right place, but maybe just not enough leap in him there to get his header on goal.
Good play again. Foster doing very well there. In case you're just joining us in a European morning, you're watching from the Melbourne Cricket Ground, Australia against Iran, the very last game in the World Cup qualifying matches. And at this stage, with Australia leading on aggregate by 3-1, they're favourites to go through. Beside me, Trevor Stephen. Of course, has experience of the World Cup itself, and I wonder, the French are telling me, one or two of the players have been saying in public that they're finding it difficult to motivate themselves because they've already qualified. But I think once they get to the turn of the year, you know, and the resonance of 98 begins in the ears, yes, Harry Kuhl, I think they'll get the motivation, Trevor. They've not needed to play all that hard in the past couple of years.
Yes, from January 1, it's going to be countdown to the World Cup finals. I think this is Ahmed Reza here complaining that Harry Kuhl has done the dirty on him, but it wasn't a case of that at all, and he's not doing himself any favours by that sort of behaviour.
Well, I think if a theatrical agent were present, and if you did not see a game against Japan, we had this every 5 minutes in that game. This is the first time he has given us embellished overreaction and a theatrical goalkeeper at the very best of time. Trevor, what do you think of that?
Harry Kuhl's been a bit naive there. So a 19-year-old who's trying to deal with Sander Paul, who's one of the most seasoned referees in the world. I think it was Harry was refusing to come to speak to Sander Paul there, and he's ended up getting himself a yellow card, which is silly to say the least.
Other substitution, I think it's Sayed Ibrahim who's going to come on. Sayed Ibrahim Tahami, number 18. Tahami, who played in the game against Japan. They've made 3 changes from the team that played against Japan, and Tahami was one of the players dropped for the first game against Australia. Well, you know, before the game against Japan and Iran, Terry Venables was hoping he wouldn't need to have to play Iran. But, you know, given what we saw the Japanese, I think he's got the best out of this situation. I think Japan would have given Australia a right game.
I think you would have seen 2 consistent performances, at least from the Japanese, and over the 2 legs. The Iranians have been up and down, showing no great form, only little spurts. I say the Australians are very comfortable. You must remember that if the Iranians were to sneak a goal at this point, we're going to have a very interesting last 15 minutes to this match.
At the back, Perivani. There he is, number 5. Stroking it about very neatly. Here's this attacking fullback again, who scored 2 goals against China. And Mark Bosnich going down on it like that. This is the kind of play he had against China when he scored 2 glorious goals.
Yeah, Alex Tobin was a little bit embarrassed for pace there as Mady strode forward into the box, but that's what your goalkeeper's for, isn't it? Being alert at all times, and Bosnich made sure he was covering that near post and did his job thoroughly.
Well, Mehdi Madavikia had the run that brought the equalizing goal for Iran in the first leg. Explosive little fullback. He is a very useful player indeed. He's 27, and I think he might end up in European football. Certainly made it very clear he would like to get to Germany. I think there's going to be about 5 or 6 minutes stoppage time in this game. Remember, if you've just joined us, you're watching Australia against Iran. And we had a real mix-up when the net was broken after the second Australian goal. We had a hold-up about 4 to 5 minutes. Here's Tahami about to come on now. So 15 minutes of the game left according to the clock, but we'll have, that's coming off there is Naim. Naim, who's very fortunate, Naim Sadavisio. He's coming off, and he's the player who had trouble with the authorities when he proved positive in a drug test, and that was almost played to Ali Dai there. Well, most of the Iranians have kept the composure, tried to play football in their accustomed style there in midfield. Kakpur. Nice push forward there by the fullback again, and this is better play from Iran. Try to put it in, must be, yes! Iran have scored! Bagheri! Oh, what a difference this makes to this match now. 14 minutes left of normal time. There will be stoppage, and that Australian defence suddenly got itself into an unexpected fankle after having played in such an organised way up till then.
Yeah, total calamity for the Australians. Had enough numbers there, but the ball broke loose. Didn't actually know where the ball was. Craig Moore tried to release it, tried to get rid of it. Azizi pulls it back, and that was Bagheri, the man who's come in for this match, who puts the ball in the back of the net, and this just makes for such an interesting last 10-15 minutes to the game.
There he goes, Bagheri, the player who was suspended for the last couple of games for head-butting an opponent in the last game against China, and now he is putting Iran in with a very strong chance. If they were to score again and held that, they would go to France.
What an incredible prospect that is, because they've totally undeserved anything from this game. Yeah, they've got a chance. They've just got one good shot, one bit of luck, and they could be in the finals. Australia could all of a sudden be eliminated.
Well, they did exactly the same against Japan, of course, and we were astonished at that result. They were never in the game, and yet they took it to extra time.
I do think they are one of these teams, though, who can be overwhelmed for a lot of the game and then get some stroke of luck. Something goes for them in the game, and then they become totally transformed. So I think Australia have got a really tricky last 10 or 15 minutes.
We're beyond extra time, of course, because only one score would have provided that, one each, and now the Australians have to be very canny in defence. Robbie Slater tried to push his way forward here, and this will certainly be a new lease of life for this team, played forward by Kamadresa. Here they go again. Azizi. Now, astonishingly, they have found their pace again. Got to be equalled by the Australians now, as Craig Foster fights very hard for that. What an end we're going to have to this game.
This was the goal again. A bit of a scrambled affair, you might say. Craig Moore getting in there. Vidmar was with him.
Just a bit unlucky there, trying to flick it away.
Yeah, it all became a bit ugly. Bagheeri had the opportunity and made no mistake.
And it really has been the pace on the right-hand side that has penetrated this Australian defence, and that equilibrium which they had clearly established is now gone for the moment. The initiative now with Iran. Even though they're that one goal behind, they know one goal would do it. This is the pace again, and I think a goal kick. Good play, intelligent play by Stan Lazaridis there again. Not going into the tackle, just ushering him away to the corner.
Yeah, he's done well there. He's thought about the situation and let the ball drift out of play.
I think the referee wanting a word behind the goal there. They took a while to get that ball to the goalkeeper. The European, the Hungarian referee, quite insistent about that. And it looks to me as if Ernie Tapai is warming up to come on. Here's a great chance. Is it the equalizer? It is! Kazizi! Kodad Azizi! It's astonishing now. From 2 goals up, the Iranians are now heading for France at 2 each.
Just about when you think you've seen everything in football, something like this happens. Absolutely unbelievable.
There's the pace by Azizi. Difficult one. Bosnich comes out and he remains very cool indeed. And could this be one of the major anticlimaxes we've had in our coverage of World Cup football in the last couple of years? Almost 100,000 people were perhaps prematurely celebrating Australia getting into the finals. And here the Asian Player of the Year, Kodad Azizi, making it 2-all.
The 0-1-2 of Ali Dai and Azizi working as they haven't done up to this point in this game, but given the chance, they've cut the Australian defence in two. And that is just an unbelievable result that we've got at the moment.
Well, I make it 10 minutes, about 9 minutes of normal time, but there will be stoppage time. Remember, we had that interval when they had to mend the net, and now 2 substitutions. We talked about number 14, Eddie Tapa, coming on, and now Tony Vidmar is on as well. Tapai and Vidmar.
Well, it's last 10 minutes. What's Terry Venables going to do now? It's incredible situation they found themselves in. Australia were defending so comfortably, so well, and I said it only a matter of moments ago, it seems, that if the Iranians somehow got themselves 1 goal, there's every chance they could get another one. They did the hard work, they got the first goal, and now Terry Venables has got a real task on his hands.
He's also talking to Graham Arnold, who's the record goal scorer in Australian football. Wonder if he's wishing to bring him on. He plays in Japanese football, not brought him on yet. Long and high, and the Australians, you know, at this stage they look very, very deflated.
They're going to be very hard pushed to be able to pick the pace of the game up now, because the Iranians, who've been in the ascendancy for the last 5 or 10 minutes, and now how do the Australians approach this last period of the game?
He's had many a trial and tribulation in his life, this man, and more than a footballing sense, and having been so close to qualification, they are out of it. And it looks to me as if Craig Moore is suffering. Lazaridis tried to come forward, and they will defend desperately now, and given the luck that they had in the first 15 minutes, you've got to fancy them. Azizi, the goal scorer, and Bosnich won't hesitate about this. While Bosnich left utterly exposed at that last goal. And there's Craig Moore, yes, he looks in a bad way. That looks like a muscle.
Yeah, his half seemed to go over on his ankle. I don't know if it's his knees, he's holding his calf muscle there. That's not good news. for Craig, for Australia, or for Glasgow Rangers at the moment.
And now they're forced to make that substitution. If you add on another 5 minutes, approximately 5 minutes to the time you're watching at the moment, we get something approximating to the conclusion of this game. It was a long interval as he sorted the net, and Graham Arnold is now on, playing in Japanese football. He scored 19 goals, more than anybody else in the squad. That's a better ball around the outside. Play to Tapai, and they're putting the ball anywhere now. Cleared by one of the coolest customers in their side, Mohamed Kankpur.
Australia really do have to throw everything forward. Tapai made a good break on the right-hand side. Australia have a corner. They need a good quality ball into the box.
It's got to be headed back down and two straight to the keeper.
Somebody's going to have to make themselves a hero in the Australian side with time running out.
There's a bit of ball inside. There's a shot at goal, and the goalkeeper, as the substitute came up to shoot at goal, Graham Arnold, the goalkeeper getting down to that well and remaining cool. He didn't hit it with any particular venom, more into the ground.
Oh, what a great chance that was. Straight down the throat of Ahmed Reza. Graham Arnold's first opportunity, first touch in the game, and was a great opportunity for him.
And another stoppage here. I would reckon we have possibly about 10 minutes left of this game. I'm sure the referee has obviously taken a very careful calculation of the stoppage time in this. Well, the Australians lavishing their praise on this team during the halftime interval and getting right through well into the second half. They were temporarily stunned. I have to say they're now trying to lift the team. And this little break, I'm not sure whom this helps. Probably the Iranians, given the momentum that had developed for the Australian side. Worried man, though. A very worried man now. He knows he probably just doesn't have the craftiness up front that he would like in a situation like this.
I don't think that he does. I think he's got to depend on Lazaridis getting himself back into the game, creating something perhaps on the left-hand side for Australia. We haven't seen him in the last 10 minutes, so he's got to get himself back on the ball and create one or two things for them. Otherwise, it's going to be a mistake, I think, where Australia get a goal from.
And there's Stan Lazaridis, the man we were talking about there. As Mehdi Pasharade seems to have made a miraculous recovery. Here's the pace again. And the referee wants them back, though. Another substitution. They really are coming on thick and fast now. Number 15, Ali Akbar Ostasaji. No, he's run it out. That's the substitute, Tony Wiedmar, now playing his football for Glasgow Rangers. Came from Holland, Dutch football there, Breda. And it's going to be thrust and aggression of the Australians. They don't have a manipulator there. Little touch of the extraordinary. Bosnic tempting the player forward. Stan Lazaridis. Rather weakly out of play again. You're watching live the last few minutes of the very final game of the World Cup qualification. And at this stage, Iran are going to France. If it stays like this, 2 goals away from home, when he's running into trouble. They're defending against this easily enough, and that is, as I said to you, Trevor, just simply with that shot by Ned Zelic, a lack of guile about that area.
There's a certain desperation about things now. Australia haven't looked particularly effective when they're just humping the ball forward. They're more of an effective side when they're able to make movement, able to make runs and turn defenders. This is not an ideal situation for them at all.
Here's that substitution we were talking about that was imminent there. Number 15 coming on, Ali Akbar Ostazadzi. They think they're there. There's now a look of determination about them. They didn't show any real grittiness against Japan, but I think they're demonstrating it now, and I think
that is incredible.
Yeah.
I've never seen a man leaving the pitch before being substituted and tying both shoelaces on the way off.
And they're being booked for that.
Something I hate to see, I must say, Archie. It really riles me when I see not even professional tactics like that.
Well, the referee will certainly add time on in any case. I think, and we're really having to guess at this stage just how long that stoppage was. I think about 5 minutes. Stan Lazaridis gliding his way forward again, and he lacked a little bit of support. He gets it now. Lazaridis with that good left foot of his, and away by Navin Zadaboza. Everybody back behind the ball for Iran. They're so close to the finals now. Substitute Tony Vidmar. And nobody coming from the right-hand side. And are we prepared now, Trevor, for one of the great anti-climaxes?
Yeah, it is really. I must admit, Australia have thoroughly deserved to be qualifying for the World Cup, and to be honest with you, it doesn't look like they're going to be there. The Iranians are going to sneak in through the back door, I feel, and two defensive errors have allowed that to happen just when Iran didn't look like a goal threat. Within 2 minutes, they've got 2 goals to their name, and they look as if they're on the way to France 98.
That's Viduka trying to go up there. Now they're winning the ball in midfield. This is Ali Dai. Trying to get the ball away. I thought he would have held on to it there. That's a surprising move by him. That's a bad ball by Bosnich. They really have to keep possession now, Australia. Really had no chance with the 2 goals. Well, the last time Iran reached the finals, that was in Argentina, and before they went there, they knocked Australia out, beat them 3-0. And it looks as if history might repeat itself with that score draw. And that was a final game too. So we're almost 2 minutes into stoppage time. I calculate about 5 or 6 minutes of stoppage time. And if you're just joining us, Iran have dramatically come from 2 goals behind to equalize, and 2 goals away from home would put them into the World Cup finals in France. That's a decent ball, and the goalkeeper taking it with good timing.
Yeah, he's certainly under pressure there. Vidmar taking the direct route. Graham Arnold pulling away on the left-hand side, actually taking his eye off the ball, so good save from Ahmed Reza.
And I wonder, some of the legs seem to have gone in 1 or 2 of the Australian players as well. I mean, I think it's that goal, that second goal wasn't only an equaliser, it was a traumatic event. Well, Kuehl settled for the throw-in. Referee trying to get out the way there. Can't put it too near this goalkeeper, of course. Viduka just off the mark again. We haven't seen him all that usefully in the air.
No, Lazaridis, good ball in. Viduka pulled off his marker quite well, but was never quite going to threaten the goal. Couldn't get enough on it, and Another opportunity goes by for the Australians, and time running out all the time.
All credit to Iran for having been outplayed for most of the game and then snatching these goals. That is the whole purpose of the exercise when you're playing football. There was the rather gentle header there. Free kick quickly taken. Nice little turn here by the sub. And too many white jerseys in there. And that required a much more determined tackle, though, which didn't come from Tapai. Really got it floated in. Simply cannot find a way through at the moment. That's a better ball inside. 7 white jerseys inside the penalty area. Only Ali Dai and Adazizi up front. The goalkeeper must be the measure of this. And the referee allowing play to go on. That was a fair challenge. An indeterminate amount of stoppage time here. I think it could go to 5 minutes. We're in the last few seconds. Got to get the right little purchase in the ball, and that's a save. Right off the head of the substitute who came in there. Graham Arnold, second header, second touch, and he couldn't put it away.
He certainly has proved a goal threat since he's come on, taken up good goal-scoring positions. A good ball in from Zelic. Arnold got a good header to it, but Amadriza had read it. Stuck to his goal line there and held on to the ball well.
Another player down there, and I think this certainly will interrupt the momentum that the Australians have built up. It kind of discharges the electricity of their attacks. And the referee wants them to get on with it. Or off the pitch. The referee will certainly be adding time. And if you're surprised about the amount of stoppage time and you're just joining us, we had a net burst which had to be sorted. It took about 4 to 5 minutes to get it corrected, plus the stoppage time for the blatant time-wasting tactics of the Iranians towards the end of the match, which the referee clearly has recognized. Still in all, Iran in the driving seat. Launched away there by the substitute Ali Akbar. All they want to do is to hold on to this ball. That is a throw to Iran.
Well, it's certainly been a game of intrigue and twists and turns. And as the game's developed, Australia have certainly been the stronger of the two sides, as I said earlier. But Iran can see the finishing line now.
Well, there have been 12 victories out of 12, and then the draw for Terry Venables. And it would be ironic indeed that if he were to be knocked out of the World Cup qualifying groups and didn't lose a game.
Yeah, I would definitely consider Australia unfortunate not to be going to France if this game finishes the way it is at the moment.
Throw to Australia. Really got to launch it in. The substitute, Tapai, going in to take this. Back inside, and that was a very weak challenge there by Vidmar. They've got to keep the momentum. They simply have run out of ideas, though.
Yeah, there can only be seconds left, and they really need to get the ball into the box.
They tried again this time, and it wasn't far away. Once again, Arnold coming forward has looked very useful. He obviously has good positional sense.
Yeah, he knows where the goal is. 3 balls into the box, and he's nearly been on the end of them all. Very unfortunate, just a matter of inches away from it.
And now 8 minutes into stoppage time in this incredible ending to the very last of the qualifying games for France. And there it is, Iran have qualified for the finals in the most dramatic way. 2 goals behind, fighting back in the second half. And good luck to them. That's what they set out to achieve. They've done that, but what an anticlimax for this almost 100,000 crowd. Iran outplayed for so much of this game, and a desperate and sickening anticlimax for Terry Venables. I don't think he's had as cruel an ending to a game any time in his career. And no wonder the Iranians are celebrating.
But a certain amount of disbelief from the Australian side. The Iranians, as I say, are on cloud nine. 100,000 people, most of them Australian, within the stadium, are absolutely devastated. And you've got to feel for them. I certainly feel for Terry Venables and the Australian boys who dominated the game for great parts. But it's going to be Iran who are in the World Cup finals in France in 1998.
I just think too, it does show you the difficulty that Venables and any Australian manager faces in playing in such an easy group and then having to elevate your game, get players from around the world and play in a higher standard, and that they have failed to do. As I said, I doubt very much if I've seen such an anticlimax before, not in such a vast crowd here in the very famous Melbourne cricket ground. Disappointment for the Australians. Really has been an enthralling game though. Marked contrast between the two teams. Congratulations to Iran. They've done it. I hope you've enjoyed Eurosport's coverage. We'll be doing the draw live. From Trevor Stephen and Archie McPherson, goodbye.